ever wondered what would have happened if Gohan was reborn with all of his memories? Just how strong could he actually become? And more importantly, how completely would he rewrite the entire Dragon Ball timeline? Now, I already know what you're thinking. How could something like that even happen? Well, to answer that, we've got to go back to one of the darkest moments in Dragon Ball history, the day future Gohan made his final stand against androids 17 and 18. You see, in the original timeline, when the androids attacked Pepper Town, Trunks begged to fight alongside his mentor. Gohan pretended to agree, only to knock him unconscious moments later. He knew Trunks wasn't ready, and if one of them had to die that day, he had already decided it would be him. So, with only one arm left, Gohan flew off alone to face the androids. He fought with everything he had, but courage wasn't enough. The androids overwhelmed him, pinned him down, and buried him beneath a relentless barrage of energy blasts until there was nothing left. Trunks would later find his master's body lying in the rain, and the heartbreaking moment became the catalyst that awakened his Super Saiyan transformation. But for this timeline to work, we're going to be changing one thing. Instead of dying out there, Gohan somehow hangs on. Barely. By the time Trunks finds him, he's still alive, but only just. There isn't time to think. So Trunks grabs him and rushes him straight back to Capsule Corp, hoping Bulma can do something, anything to save him. As it turns out, Bulma has been working on something in secret for years. Calling it a time machine would be giving it way too much credit. It's really just a rough prototype, an experiment she hoped might one day prove that time itself could be reached. It had never worked before, and honestly, she wasn't even sure it would ever work. But with Gohan dying in front of her and humanity already hanging by a thread, she decides this is the only chance they've got. The second she powers it on, everything starts falling apart. The readings shoot through the roof, alarms start blaring, sparks are flying everywhere, and before anyone can even react, the whole thing burns itself out. 3 seconds. That's all it lasts. Bulma just stands there staring at the wreckage, knowing she was too late. Or at least, that's what she thinks, because the machine actually did do something, just not what she built it to do. You see, while it was never capable of sending a living person through time, it only managed to tear open the smallest crack in space-time for the briefest moment. And by pure chance, that happened at the exact instant Gohan finally let go. Maybe it was his will. Maybe it was his ki. Maybe it was simply the fact that he refused to accept that this was how everything ended. Whatever the reason, something impossible happened in that moment. The machine didn't send Gohan back. All it did was create the opportunity. Somehow, Gohan's consciousness found its way through that opening on its own. And all that somehow ended up bringing us to a present where all the Dragon Ball characters grab their phones and start chatting with you through Polybuzz. Or well, that's what it feels like through your side. You see, Polybuzz is an app that allows you to chat with over 1 million anime characters. And not only that, but about literally anything you want. Whether you want a casual chat with your favorite anime characters like Goku, Luffy, Ichigo, or Vegeta, or whether you want to make your wildest dreams a reality by chatting with your favorite waifus like Android 18, Bulma, Nami, or Orihime. Polybuzz makes all these a reality. For example, here is my chat with Goku. If you and Saitama had a fight, who would win? Goku's reply? Well, once you download Polybuzz yourself, you can ask him yourself and find out. And yet that was just one of the countless conversations you can have yourself with any anime character you want. And not just that, you can even create your very own AI characters, personalize their traits, and chat with them about anything you want. And let me just tell you that as an anime fan, you will never get bored of it. And by using my code Saiyan8, you get access to 3 days premium membership completely free of charge. Use my link in the description down below to download Polybuzz AI and start chatting with your favorite anime characters today. Believe me, you will not regret it. But now, let's get back to our video. The Fracture wasn't searching for a destination. It was searching for a perfect match. Across countless timelines, there was only one being whose body and ki could truly receive him, and that was baby Gohan, peacefully sleeping in his crib years before any of this tragedy had ever happened. Meanwhile, in the future, Bulma never learns that the machine kind of worked. Looking at the burnt-out remains of her prototype, she convinces herself it almost worked, and that tiny spark of hope becomes the foundation for the machine she eventually builds years later, the very same time machine future Trunks will use to change history. Meanwhile, on a completely different timeline, on a quiet morning at Mount Paozu, a newborn Gohan starts crying and just won't stop. Chi-Chi assumes he's hungry or scared. He's not. His whole tiny body is shaking because flashes of memories that don't belong to a baby are tearing through a brain nowhere near ready to hold them. A burning city, rain hammering down on dead streets, Trunks' face, a missing left arm that, in this version of the story, was never actually lost. Almost all of those memories bury themselves nearly immediately. A baby's mind just isn't built to carry a lifetime of war, so they sink somewhere deep where he can't reach them. Only little pieces manage to slip through. The first time a thunderstorm rolls over Mount Paozu, Gohan goes completely quiet, staring out the window like he's seeing something nobody else can. Every now and then, he'll rub his left arm without even realize he's doing it, almost like it hurts even though there's nothing wrong with it. Loud mechanical noises make him jump for reasons he can't explain, and every once in a while, his ki flares for a split second before settling right back down again. Chi-Chi and Goku don't think much of it. As far as they're concerned, he's just an unusually strange kid, which honestly isn't that surprising when your father is Goku. For the first few years, that's really all there is to it. Gohan laughs, plays, cries, and acts exactly like any other little kid. Whatever followed him from that other life is buried so deep that he doesn't even know it's there. So when Raditz arrives, nothing really changes from the original timeline. Gohan is still the same frightened 4-year-old who explodes out of the Saiyan pod in a burst of hidden power. He doesn't warn anyone about the future because he can't. As far as he knows, there isn't a future to remember. Things don't really start changing until Piccolo begins training him. At first, it's so subtle that nobody notices. Gohan starts reacting to attacks before they even land. He slips out of the way of blows that should have caught him clean, and sometimes he'll move before he's even aware he's made the decision. Then, little habits start showing up that nobody ever taught him. He instinctively shifts his footing before taking a hit. He naturally adjusts his breathing in the middle of a fight. He reads tiny changes in an opponent's stance without knowing why they matter. None of it makes any sense, especially to Gohan himself. One day, Piccolo finally asks him how he keeps doing it. Gohan just stares back at him. I don't know. And that's the truth. It doesn't feel like remembering. It feels like his body already knows things his mind hasn't caught up to yet. Piccolo figures it's just another sign of Gohan's incredible potential and leaves it at that. Then, Nappa and Vegeta land, and the timeline holds mostly steady right up until the exact second Piccolo dies. Gohan has no episodic memory yet, so he can't warn Piccolo about what's coming, and Piccolo still throws himself in front of that blast to save him. Piccolo still dies exactly like before, but this time, the second it happens, something inside Gohan snaps and crashes out just like me every time I see people watching these videos without subscribing. So, hey, do me a favor, take 2 seconds, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll get back into it. Every nightmare, every strange feeling, every bit of fear he's been carrying since he was a baby finally has somewhere to go, and it doesn't come out as grief, it comes out as rage. The ground beneath him cracks, golden light explodes around his body, and before anyone can even understand what's happening, Gohan's hair flashes gold. One second he's a terrified little kid standing over his teacher's body, and the next he's radiating a level of power that leaves everyone on the battlefield frozen, Vegeta included. Nobody has ever seen anything like this before. Not Nappa, not Krillin, not even Gohan himself. This isn't some old Saiyan legend anymore. It's standing right in front of them. Gohan isn't choosing to transform. His body is just reacting to more pain than it was ever meant to carry. He throws himself at Nappa and lands a punch hard enough to send the giant Saiyan skidding backward across the battlefield. The first person all day to actually make a move. But it doesn't last. His body simply can't handle that kind of power yet. Almost as quickly as it appeared, the golden aura disappears. His strength gives out and he collapses into the dirt without ever understanding what just happened. Vegeta doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. He came to Earth believing the Super Saiyan was nothing more than an old legend. And now he's watched it appear inside the body of a child. He walks away without saying a thing, but it's a moment he'll never forget. And years later, when Gohan starts saying things no child should possibly know, this is the memory Vegeta keeps coming back to. When Gohan wakes up, everyone wants answers. Krillin asks him what happened. Later, so does Goku. What did it feel like? How did he do it? Can he do it again? And every time, Gohan gives them the same blank, honest look. He doesn't remember any of it. Not the rage, not the transformation, not even Piccolo dying in the moments right before it. It's less like a memory and more like a door that opened once. Whatever unlocked it that day works less like a switch and more like a password that only fires once. And for the next 5 years, nobody, not Gohan, not Goku, not even Vegeta grinding himself into the dirt, trying to chase the exact same power, can figure out how to make it happen again. Namek and Frieza play out almost exactly the way they do in the original timeline, though not without a few small changes. Every time Gohan looks at Frieza, he gets this awful feeling in the pit of his stomach, like he's standing in front of something far worse than he understands. He can't explain it, and he doesn't even know where the feeling comes from, but it never goes away. Even so, history barely changes. Goku still becomes a Super Saiyan, Frieza is defeated, and everyone makes it back to Earth alive. The only difference is Gohan's instincts quietly save a handful of Namekians who would have died in the original timeline. Nothing dramatic. He just finds himself pulling people out of danger before he even realizes he's doing it. The real changes don't start until the years before the androids arrive. As Gohan gets older, the memories buried inside him begin pushing a little harder. They don't come back all at once. They come back as nightmares. Some nights he wakes up after dreaming about his father collapsing, unable to breathe, while everyone around him stands there helpless. Other nights, it's rain falling over empty streets, or faces he somehow misses, even though he's never met them. He starts rubbing his left arm without thinking, flinches whenever he hears helicopters or heavy machinery, and spends more time watching the world around him than enjoying it. Chi-Chi notices. So does Piccolo. The happy little kid they both know is slowly becoming someone who always looks like he's waiting for the worst to happen. Word of all this eventually reaches Vegeta through Bulma, and his reaction is about what you'd expect. Great, Kakarot's kid has completely lost it. That's exactly how he dismisses it, and as far as he's concerned, that's the end of the conversation. He doesn't believe a single word of it. Not yet. Before any of that can be tested though, Garlic Jr. makes his move, and this is where people really start noticing something's different about Gohan. He doesn't fight like a scared kid digging deep to find his courage. He fights like someone who's already survived something worse and has no intention of letting it happen again. The second Garlic Jr. gives him an opening, Gohan blitzes him into the dead zone with a level of speed and aggression that catches everyone completely off guard. There's no hesitation, no dramatic build-up, just a quick, decisive finish from a kid who moves like he's done this 100 times before. Piccolo and Krillin don't even know what to say afterward. For the first time, they stop looking at Gohan as an unusually gifted child and start wondering if something is genuinely wrong. Then Goku gets sick, and suddenly every nightmare Gohan has been living with starts becoming real. The moment Goku begins coughing, Gohan completely falls apart. He isn't calmly listing symptoms or explaining the future like he somehow memorized a medical textbook. He's panicking. He's crying. He's trying to tell everyone he's already seen this happen before. He's coughing, then he can't breathe, then he collapses, and none of you can stop it. I've already seen it. That's all he can get out between sobs. No medical explanation, no timeline of organ failure, just pure fear and a desperate certainty that if nobody acts now, his dad is going to die. And somehow, that's enough. Bulma and the others take him seriously months before they otherwise would have, giving Capsule Corp enough time to stay ahead of the virus and save Goku's life. Not because some battle-hardened soldier from the future handed everyone the answer, but because a terrified little boy forced the people around him to believe his nightmares before they became reality. This is also the exact point where Vegeta's skepticism starts to actually crack. The virus hits exactly when Gohan said it would, exactly the shape he described it. Vegeta doesn't say a word, he just quietly stops calling it madness, which for a guy who never admits he's wrong about anything is basically a full confession. And it matters that it happens this way instead of some scene where Gohan just sits Vegeta down and explains everything. Vegeta doesn't come around because he gets told the truth. He comes around because he's been quietly keeping score on a 4-year streak of a kid being right about things nobody could possibly predict. And eventually, the math just stops adding up any other way. Alright, by age 9, the nightmares finally become clear enough to act on. A green, insect-like monster, a flash of golden light, and his dad gone. Gohan doesn't know the full story yet, but he knows something worse than the androids is coming. So he goes straight to Goku and tells him they need to get stronger now. By this point, Goku has watched his son predict his heart virus down to the day, so he doesn't question him anymore. Together, they head into the hyperbolic time chamber. This is where everything changes. Deep into one of their training matches, Goku pushes Gohan harder than ever before, and Gohan lands a counter that leaves him convinced he's just killed his own father. That single thought tears down every wall inside his mind. The same power that burst out against Nappa comes back, only this time it stays. Golden light fills the chamber, and every buried memory comes rushing back. The rain, the mechanical footsteps, the strange weight that always seemed to be missing from his arm. It all clicks into place. At just 9 years old, Gohan drops to his knees, screaming as 2 lifetimes of grief collide. For the first time since being reborn, he understands every nightmare that haunted his childhood. There isn't a calm conversation after that. Gohan doesn't explain himself, he breaks. Between sobs, he manages to choke out that he watched all of them die before falling apart again. It takes Goku and Piccolo a full minute just to calm him down enough to breathe. Goku doesn't answer with a speech. He pulls his son into a hug and stays there until the shaking finally stops. When Gohan can finally look up again, Goku quietly says, "We'll make sure that future never happens." Piccolo never says a word. 5 years of things he could never explain suddenly make sense. Every flinch, every nightmare, every moment Gohan seemed older than he should have. It all falls into place. Even Vegeta has nothing to say. 5 years earlier, he'd watched this same child become the first Super Saiyan he'd ever seen. Now he's standing in front of a kid who remembers watching him die at the hands of the androids in another life. Even Vegeta can't brush that aside. He looks at Gohan for a long moment, turns around, and walks away. Coming from Vegeta, that's about as close to sympathy as anyone is ever gonna get. With Gohan's memories restored, nobody waits for the androids to make the first move. Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo head straight for Dr. Giro's lab. Caught off guard, Giro panics and releases 17 and 18 before he's ready, only to be killed by his own creations moments later. But that's where Gohan's knowledge ends. Future Gohan never lived long enough to meet Cell. Cell comes from a different timeline, so for the first time since being reborn, Gohan has no idea what's coming. He thinks the androids are the final threat, so when entire towns begin disappearing and people are found as nothing but piles of clothes, he's just lost as everyone else. This time, there are no memories to lean on and no warnings to give. Cell absorbs 17 and 18 just like before, reaches his perfect form, and then does the last thing anyone expects. Instead of destroying the planet, he announces a tournament, gives the world 10 days to prepare and builds an arena in the middle of nowhere. It's like watching a wrestling heel calling out the entire world before the biggest match of his life, except the prize is the fate of the planet. The next 10 days disappear in a blur of training. Everyone pushes themselves as hard as they can, knowing it still might not be enough. Then the Cell games begin. Mr. Satan arrives with cameras, an entourage, and enough confidence to make you think he actually believes he's about to beat Cell. At this point, nobody even bothers arguing with him. Goku steps into the ring first and quickly confirms what he already suspected. This isn't his fight to win. After giving Cell everything he has, he steps aside. Vegeta charges in next, convinced brute force will make the difference, only to watch Cell shrug off every attack without effort. For the first time in front of the entire world, Vegeta's pride takes a worse beating than his body. Trunks follows and manages to push Cell back for a few moments before Cell casually admits he hasn't even been trying and snaps Trunks' sword in half. Then Gohan steps forward, but he doesn't want any part of this. He spent his entire second life trying not to become the person he was in the future. Against Cell, he holds back so much it nearly gets him killed, taking hit after hit while barely fighting back because some part of him still believes there's another way. Then Android 16 steps in, built to kill Goku but changed by the life he's lived. He grabs Cell and tries to detonate himself. Cell slips away at the last second and tears him apart, leaving only his severed head behind. With the last of his strength, 16 tells Gohan that fighting to protect the people you love doesn't make you a monster. Before he can finish though, Cell crushes his head beneath his foot. That's all it takes. 2 lifetimes of grief crash into 2 lifetimes of rage, and Super Saiyan 2 erupts. Gohan doesn't just overpower Cell, he completely bullies him. Every movement is calm, controlled, and unsettling, like he's fighting an enemy he's already defeated once before. Even Piccolo and Krillin barely recognize the boy standing in front of them. This isn't the kid they've spent years protecting, it's the version of Gohan he's spent his entire second life trying to bury. For the first time in his life, Cell panics. He swells with energy, preparing to destroy the Earth in one final explosion. Goku grabs him, uses instant transmission, and gives his own life so everyone else can keep theirs. For Gohan, it's the second time he's watched his father die to save the people he loves, but this time he remembers every second of it. Even that isn't enough. Cell regenerates and returns stronger than before, locked onto the one fighter whose power even he can't fully understand. Without saying a word, Piccolo steps aside and lets Gohan face Cell alone. Desperate to win, Cell pours everything he has into one last attack. There isn't another instant transmission to save everyone now. Gohan plants his feet and answers with everything he has left. The blast tears straight through Cell, erasing him before he even gets the chance to destroy the Earth. No last second escape, no dramatic countdown, just a 9-year-old refusing to lose anyone else because he hesitated. When the dust settles, nobody says a word. They simply stare at the child who did what none of them could. The next 7 years are peaceful, at least on the surface. Gohan still speaks to Goku through King Kai from time to time, and more than once he asks his father if he has any idea what it does to the people left behind when he keeps choosing to die for everyone else. The grief never disappears. It simply learns to live alongside the anger. By the time those 7 years run out, Gohan isn't the same traumatized kid who broke down inside that chamber anymore. He enrolls at Orange Star High, already knowing exactly who he's looking for. And because he never let his training slip, he walks in confident and comfortable in his own skin, in a way canon Gohan never really got to be at that age. Does he still put on the cape and call himself Great Saiyan Man? Of course. He genuinely loves the theatrics, but this time he owns the bit completely instead of stumbling through it. And somehow that makes it charming instead of embarrassing. When Videl inevitably figures out his secret, there's no blackmail, no awkward standoff. He just tells her the truth outright and offers to train her himself because he already sees exactly what she's capable of becoming and doesn't see the point in wasting years getting there the slow way. The two of them build something real years ahead of schedule, sparring on rooftops after school long before Majin Buu ever becomes a problem. Since Gohan has zero foreknowledge of Babidi, the Buu saga still plays out close to the original story, right down to Goku getting wished back to life in time for it, and Vegeta still handing himself over to Babidi's control out of pure wounded pride. Gohan doesn't step in to stop that either, because some things in this timeline were simply never his to fix. Old Kai unlocks his mystic potential, he dominates Super Buu, gets cocky, gets absorbed for it, and Goku and Vegeta bail everyone out with a spirit bomb, same as always. Honestly, it's kind of a relief for him. One arc where the ending was never his responsibility to carry. Resurrection F plays out mostly how you'd expect. Frieza comes back the same way, rebuilt, coming for Earth, expecting the same soft, out-of-practice fighter he remembers from Namek. Instead, he gets a Gohan who never actually stopped training. Gohan doesn't get the flashy solo win this time since Goku and Vegeta are already gods by this point, but he holds the line against Frieza's entire army with way more competence than canon ever gave him credit for, leaning on his mystic form to keep the casualty count at 0 until his dad shows up to finish it properly. Then Goku Black happens, and this is where everything this timeline built finally pays off. Present-day Trunks gets to just be a normal kid here. No sword, no burden, no ruined future, because Gohan already lived that nightmare once, so Trunks never has to carry it a second time. So when Zamasu's plan surfaces, Gohan steps to the front of this arc, not Trunks. An apocalyptic future where mortals get hunted for sports isn't some abstract threat to him. It's a memory, and the second he lands in that dead timeline, every planted detail from his own childhood clicks into place around him at once. The ash, the silence, the ruined skylines he used to dream about. He fights Zamasu with a cold, focused fury nobody's seen from him since Cell. At the climax, it's Gohan, not Trunks, who summons future Zeno and shows him exactly what divine negligence actually costs the people living underneath it. Zeno erases the timeline, and for the first time since he was born, Gohan gets something that actually looks like closure on an apocalypse he used to think was unavoidable. From there, it's mostly Gohan finally settling into a role he spent years actively avoiding. During the Tournament of Power, his tactical mind basically carries Universe 7, calling out eliminations before they happen and coordinating with 17 and 18, who've respected him without question since the day he ended Cell. He's finally stopped pretending he's just a scholar with a cape and accepted he's a fighter too. During the Moro arc, he takes Miras's training completely seriously instead of brushing it off as busy work, adapting to genuinely galactic threats with the calm of a soldier who's already done this before. Because in a strange way, he has. And then Pan gets threatened, and everything this entire story has been building towards lands in one single moment. His beast form during Superhero isn't some random new power-up pulled out of nowhere. It's every piece of this timeline colliding at once. His full potential meeting the exact same protective instinct that got him killed protecting Trunks in a completely different timeline. Orange Piccolo fights at his side through all of it. The same teacher who died in front of a 4-year-old, now standing shoulder to shoulder with the fighter that moment eventually made. He doesn't hesitate this time either. So, does a Gohan reborn with all of his memories actually get stronger, faster, and end up saving people who never even knew they needed saving? Obviously, yeah. From the heart virus to Cell to an entire timeline erased alongside Zamasu, he becomes the most quietly important person on the planet, and almost nobody outside his immediate circle ever finds out what any of it actually cost him. But here's the real question worth sitting with. What does it actually take to get there? Goku surviving the virus, Piccolo dying anyway, 16 dying for real, a whole future wiped out alongside Zamasu. Every one of those comes from a kid carrying 2 lifetimes of grief that nobody around him even knew existed until it exploded out of him in a chamber built for training, not therapy. He doesn't keep saving this timeline because he's the strongest person in it. He does it because he already lost everyone once, and he spent every year since refusing to let it happen again, one saga at a time. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and click on this video next for more great anime content. Go on, check it out!